One.
Hi there, this is our week 8 help video, and I wanted to go through a couple of the My Spanish Lab assignments that have the lowest average score for this week, and then also I wanted to talk just briefly about the culture discussion boards. So starting out with the two My Spanish Lab assignments, the first one is 335, and there are quite a few people who already completed this and didn't seem to have much trouble with it, but there were some people who were struggling with it. So I wanted to make sure that we addressed it. So I apparently can't zoom in while I'm recording, unfortunately. So hopefully you'll be able to see this well enough. If not, I'll be sure to spell things out so that you can enter it in or jot a note to yourself to go back and redo this assignment if you're needing to. So with this assignment, you're completing the dialogue and you need to choose between the two verbs ir and hacer, and then also conjugate the verbs correctly. So looking at the first line, hola Margarita, ¿qué blank tú aquí en la biblioteca? So it's either going to be asking, what are you doing, or what are you going here in the library? So the one that makes the most sense is hacer, conjugate that for tú, and we have haces. ¿Qué haces tú aquí en la biblioteca? And Margarita says, yo blank mi tarea para la clase de ingeniería. So again, talking about doing our homework, we're going to use the verb hacer, and the yo form is hago. Maribel says, qué interesante, ¿estudias ingeniería? ¿Qué blank ustedes en las clases de ingeniería por lo general? What do you do in the classes? So notice here the noun is ustedes, so we need to conjugate it for ustedes, which is hacen, H-A-C-E-N. Margarita says, nosotros blank muchos diseños. We make many designs. So the verb hacer makes the most sense here again. Hacemos. H-A-C-E-M-O-S. Hacemos. Muchos diseños. Ahora diseñamos partes para bicicletas. El próximo semestre nosotros blank a trabajar con carros. So here she's talking about future plans. We are going to work with cars. So vamos, we're going to use the verb ir. The nosotros form is vamos, V-A-M-O-S. Me gusta mucho. And Maribel says, ustedes blank a preparar los diseños en la computadora. So again, we're talking about the future. Talking about this verb a preparar in the future. So we're going to use ir. Ustedes van, V-A-N. Van is the conjugation for ustedes of the verb ir. Sí. ¿Qué blank tú en la biblioteca, Maribel? So now she's taking the question back to her. What are you doing? ¿Qué haces tú en la biblioteca, Maribel? Blank a estudiar también. So we're looking at this verb talking about, are you going to do this? So the verb is ir. We're going to use the tú form vas. ¿Vas a estudiar también? Maribel says, sí, blank a leer. If we look at this, I'm going to read. So we're going to use the verb ir again. The yo form, because she's talking about what she's saying, what I am going to do. Voy a leer un artículo para mi clase de psicología. Qué interesante. ¿Qué tal si después de una hora tú y yo blank a tomar un café? So they're talking about what they are going to do after an hour of studying. Since the subject is tú y yo, it would be nosotros. So we're going to conjugate it for nosotras. We're going to conjugate the verb ir, to go, in the nosotras form, vamos. Tú y yo vamos a tomar un café. Estupenda idea. Bien. So that is exercise 335. Haces, hago, hacen, hacemos, vamos, van, haces, vas, voy, and vamos. All right. The next one that I wanted to do is exercise 339. So this one is again looking at two different verbs. The two verbs here are ser and estar. Okay, read about various aspects of Marco's personal life and complete each statement using the correct form of ser for traits or estar for states. Mi familia. So if he's saying my family is Mexican, that is we're going to use the verb ser for that. Mi familia es mexicana. Nosotros, where we're from, we'll use ser also. The nosotros conjugation is somos. Nosotros somos de Guadalajara. Guadalajara, blank en el estado de Jalisco. It's talking about location. So here we're going to conjugate the verb estar. Uh-oh, I don't have my Spanish keyboard turned on. Okay. Guadalajara está en el estado de Jalisco. Los miembros de mi familia, the descriptions given are trabajadores y simpáticos, so those are permanent traits. I'm going to say son, since the subject is los miembros de mi familia. And mis padres, blank profesores. Talking about occupation, we'll use the verb ser. Conjugated for ellos is son. Enseñan en la universidad, blank cerca de nuestra casa. Talking about location here. It's close to our house. Conjugating it for singular, third person. La universidad está cerca de nuestra casa. Sus oficinas, blank en edificios diferentes del campus. So again, we're talking about location, where their offices are. They're in different buildings. So sus oficinas están en edificios diferentes del campus. Mi mamá, blank, profesora de literatura mexicana. Mi mamá es. This is her career, her occupation. We'll use ser. Y su oficina está en la Facultad de Filosofía y Letras. Mi papá es profesor de biología y su oficina, we're going to use está to talk about the location of his office. Y los dos, blank, muy inteligentes. Inteligentes would be a permanent trait, so we'll use the verb ser. So son there. Bien, let's submit it. And hopefully that clears up those two activities a little bit better for those of you who are struggling with them. In number one here we have, or part one, we have es, somos, está, and son. Part two, we have son, está, están, es, está, and son. So anytime that you're doing two different things, you're choosing the correct verb and conjugating it correctly, you have to be extra careful because there's two different possibilities, two different times where you could confuse it and end up with a wrong answer. So then the last thing I wanted to talk about was the culture discussion boards. And there are a lot of people who are missing out on those points because they just aren't participating in the discussion. And I know I see comments from students who feel like the discussion boards, especially since they're being done in English, don't add a lot of value to the class for them. And if that's been how you've been feeling, and so you haven't been doing them because they don't feel like they're a valuable part of the class, I would encourage you to give one a try, dig a little bit deeper into the culture. Culture or language doesn't exist in a vacuum. Language exists as part of culture and as a reflection of culture and a contributor to culture. And so to learn a language without also learning the culture of the people who speak that language, you'd be missing out on a lot of important meaning. So learning the culture is very helpful in learning the vocabulary and why the Spanish language does or does not have certain words for things that are different from the way we would express it in English, not just different vocabulary because it's a different language, but a different priorities. Some words just don't exist because culturally it's not something that they talk about. So if I do encourage you to dig into the culture lessons and give it some time, give it some thought. They're meant to be fairly quick assignments, so they aren't taking a lot of your time away from studying the Spanish vocabulary and all of that. But I do want you to start thinking about and getting an interest in the culture of Spanish-speaking countries. So please make sure that you are doing those assignments. There isn't one due this week, but as a heads up for next week, we will have our third culture lesson, and I really encourage everybody to participate in that. I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you all online.